Hello everyone, Ritu Chaudhary here. In our previous video, we have discussed regarding alkenes. We have discussed its preparation and general intro. Now we come to its physical and chemical properties. So let's start its physical properties. So the first physical property of alkane is its non-polar nature. Alkanes are non-polar in nature. Why? This is because of two reasons. The first one is because of covalent bonding between carbon and carbon, and second is very less electronegativity difference between carbon and hydrogen. So because of these two reasons, the alkanes are non-polar in nature. They generally consist van der Waals forces between them. They have weak van der Waals forces. Third point, these are generally colorless and odorless. That means they have no color and they have no smell. Next, fourth, if we check their physical state, then because of presence of van der Waals forces, weak van der Waals forces, C1 to C4 alkanes, that means the alkanes containing 1 carbon to 4 carbon, they are generally exist as gases. C5 to C7, C17 exist as liquids, and C18 and above, these are generally exist as solids. So the physical state of alkanes are as shown. C1 to C4, that means generally exist as gases. C5 to C17 generally exist as liquid, and C18 carbon containing compounds, 18 carbon compounds and above, they generally exist as solid form. Now come to their solubility. The fifth important point is solubility. So I think we all have seen the petrol. If we mix petrol in water, then what will happen? We all know that petrol is immiscible in water. So as we know that petrol consists hydrocarbons, it consists alkanes. So the alkanes are immiscible or insoluble in water. That means alkanes are hydrophobic. These are hydrophobic. Hydrophobic, that means phobic, that means which have some phobia. Hydro, that means water, that means these are hydrophobic, or you can say insoluble in water, right? You have to learn one line, that like dissolves like. Like dissolves like. It means that if we have a polar compound, that it will be soluble in a polar solvent, but if we take a non-polar compound, then it will be soluble in non-polar solvent only. That means the alkanes are soluble in organic solvent because of their non-polar nature. Next point, sixth point. Sixth point is boiling point. So this is very important point, boiling point. So as we know that boiling point depends on the forces present in the compound. As we know that alkanes have very weak van der Waals forces. So to break these forces is very easy. That means very less amount of heat is required to break the bond, right? But as the molecular mass increases, what will happen? The extent of these weak van der Waals forces increases. That's why the boiling point also increases with increase in the molecular mass. That means if molecular mass increases, then van der Waals forces also increases, and that's why boiling point also increases. Now you have to remember one more thing, that any straight chain compound, any straight chain alkane have always higher boiling point as compared to the branch chain compound, right? That means if we have a straight chain compound and if we have a branch chain compound of same molecular formula, then this straight chain compound will always have higher boiling point as compared to this one, this branch one. This is because, as I told you, that the boiling point depends on the van der Waals force, and the boiling point depends on the surface area also. Why? Because the van der Waals force depends on the surface area. As the surface area decreases, it becomes compact, then the van der Waals forces, the extent of van der Waals forces also decreases, because of which the amount, or we can say the less amount of heat will be required. That means the boiling point decreases. That means if we have a straight chain compound, it has more surface area, but if we take a branch chain compound, the surface area compacts, right? Because of which the van der Waals forces also decreases and the boiling point also decreases. I am taking one example. If I am taking the example of C5H12, then it can be written as in three forms. The first one is N-pentane, that means the simplest normal pentane. I can write CS3, CH2, CH2, CH2 and CS3, right? The second one I can write in this form, right? This is 2-methyl butane, right? And third is, you can write in this form, CS3, C, CS3, CS3, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. It means 2, 2, this is the third one. I am writing ABC here. So 2, 2 dimethyl propane. So they all have the same molecular formula, but the structure is different. They are the isomers, right? So this is N-pentane, this is 2-methyl butane, this is 2,2 dimethyl propane. When we check their boiling point, the boiling point of N-pentane is 309.1 Kelvin, whereas it's 300.9 Kelvin, whereas it's 282.5 Kelvin. So as you can see that the boiling point decreases with branching. So you have to remember this point. Okay. So here the physical properties are completed. Now we take the chemical properties of alkanes. So we are taking the chemical properties of alkane. The first one, we start from the substitution reaction. See, as I told you earlier, that alkanes are generally inert in ordinary conditions, but when we apply some suitable conditions, then they can show some specific reactions, right? So the first reaction is substitution reaction. As the name shows, substitution, that means the reaction in which hydrogen is substituted by some other atom or group, right? So here in this reaction, hydrogen is substituted through halogen, or you can say through nitro group or sulfonic acid group, right? So such type of reaction are substitution reaction. These reactions generally occur at very high temperature or in the presence of sunlight or UV light. So I am taking the example of halogenation. And one more thing, if you take the lower alkane, they will not give the substitution reaction with respect to nitro group and sulfonic acid group. Sulfonic acid group and nitro group are substituted by hydrogen in a higher alkane only, right? So if I am taking CH4 and I do chlorination, I am doing the halogenation in the presence of sunlight, H nu I am taking, then the product will be CH3Cl and HCl, right? So as we can see that here hydrogen is still present, so reaction will occur again. The reaction will occur till it have any number of hydrogen. So again we do the same reaction, CH2, Cl2 and HCl. Further it still has hydrogen, so CH2, Cl2 and Cl2. In the presence of sunlight, it gets converted to CHCl3 plus HCl. Further, it still has one hydrogen. So this will be the final reaction. H nu, it reacts with here this hydrogen release. Now CCl4 and HCl will form. So in such a way, substitution reaction takes place with respect to alkanes. So as if we talk about the halogenation, then the fluorine react most vigorously and the reaction with fluorine is too violent. So generally we avoid it for halogenation. Then you can say the reaction chlorine, then bromine and iodine generally gives the reaction most slowly. So generally we take the reaction of halogenation with chlorine or bromine, right? So now we take the mechanism with respect to this substitution reaction. So here I am taking the mechanism, right? So mechanism is completed in 3 steps. The first step is initiation. The second step is propagation. The third step is termination. So I am taking them one by one. So we start from the initiation. So in first step, the chlorine molecules. See, this is a free radical mechanism. That means the reaction will carry out with the help of free radicals. So in first step, there will be formation of chlorine free radical. So as we know that the free radical is formed because of the homolytic fission. So there will be homolytic fission and we will get chlorine, 2 chlorine, right? You can write in this form also, right? This is chlorine free radical. Right? Now in second step, which is the propagation step, this chlorine free radical will attack on the alkane molecule. So as it attack on this molecule, it gets converted to CH3Cl and it take one hydrogen from here. It take up hydrogen from here and gets converted to HCl and loses the CH3 free radical, that is methyl free radical. Now the propagation step will continue. This CH3 react with chlorine molecule again and gets converted to CH3Cl and release again chlorine free radical. Now CH3Cl react with this chlorine free radical and it release HCl and here there will be formation of CH2Cl, right? This CH2Cl react with again chlorine free radical and gets converted to CH2Cl2, right? CH2Cl, Cl2. Or if you take chlorine molecule here, then we will again get one chlorine free radical. That means the reaction will propagate in such a way that there will be formation of free radical, they will attack on a molecule and gets converted into products, right? So such In such form, there will be formation of CS3Cl, which is the main product of the reaction. If you can take Cl, which is formed here, they will get converted into chlorine again. If you take CH3 and CS3, which is formed here also, then there is possibility of formation of ethane also. Then if you take CH3 and again Cl, we take in cross, then there will be formation of CH3Cl. So we can write in this way also. Now come to termination step. This is the propagation, this is our termination step. The propagation step is continuing till here, and here this is the third part, that is the termination step, in which there will be the formation of products. So this is the mechanism with respect to substitution reaction. That is, here I have taken the halogenation. Now come to the second chemical property, and it is combustion. And I think you all are familiar to this word. Combustion is simply the burning in the presence of oxygen and release of a more amount of heat. More amount of heat is released in combustion. So if we take any alkane and we react it with oxygen, then they will get converted to carbon dioxide and water, because this any hydrocarbon is consisting only carbon and hydrogen, so it will get converted to CO2 and H2O, right? So we just balance the equation. We will get CH4 plus 2O2 gives CO2 and 2H2O. So if we write a general equation, so the general formula of alkane is CnH2n plus O2. I am writing O2 here. It get converted to CO2 and H2O. So CO2, that means n number of CO2, right? And here n plus 1. If you multiply by 2, then 2n plus 2, right? And here for balancing, it will be 3n plus 1 upon 2, right? So this is the simple combustion of alkanes, and it is we can see the complete combustion of alkanes. And when the maximum amount, we can say we have the maximum amount or sufficient amount of oxygen is present, then they generally gets converted to CO2 and H2O. And because there is release of heat in this process, large amount of heat, that's why alkanes are used as fuels. They are used as fuels because of release of large amount of heat on their combustion. One more thing, if we do the oxidation in the presence of insufficient amount of oxygen, then the product will be different. That means if I do CH4 oxygen and I do the incomplete combustion, I am doing the incomplete combustion, as we have insufficient amount of oxygen, then there will be formation of carbon and water only. We will get carbon and water only. In this process, the carbon which is formed during this reaction is used in the formation of printer ink. So the printer ink is made up by this method. So now the third reaction. The third reaction is, see, this is the controlled oxidation. So what is the difference between combustion and oxidation? Combustion, that means reaction with oxygen, and controlled oxidation means the reaction in the presence of a suitable oxidizing agent. See, in this reaction, when we do the oxidation, the reaction takes place in the presence of suitable catalyst, right? And it this reaction, the product of this reaction depend on the catalyst which we are taken. That means in the presence of different catalysts, the product will be different. So I am taking here different reaction. If I am taking CH4, I am doing the oxidation in the presence of copper at 523 Kelvin and 100 atmosphere. The product is CH3OH. That is methanol is formed, right? Methanol is formed. But in the same way, the reactant is same. I am taking CH4 and I am doing the reaction in the presence of O2O3 molybdenum oxide. I am taking and we do the heating. Then the product is different. That is here methanol is formed, right? Here methanol is formed. That means the product will be different because we are taking different catalysts, right? So now we take the next reaction, the fourth reaction is isomerization. So isomerization, just a minute, excuse me. So isomerization, that means the reaction in which isomers are formed, right? Isomers are formed. So if I'm taking N-hexane. I'm taking N-hexane. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So this is N-hexane. If I'm taking it and if I do the reaction in the presence of anhydrous AlCl3, aluminium chloride, then we will get a mixture of isomers. We will get a mixture of isomers. It is 2-methylpentane and 3-methylpentane. 2-methylpentane and 3-methylpentane. Right? This is 2-methylpentane. Both have the same molecular formula, but the position of methyl group is different in both the compound. So they are isomer, chain isomer of each other. So that means in this process there is formation of isomers. So the process is isomerization. Now next come to aromatization. The next reaction is, I think this is reaction number 5, aromatization. So aromatization, that means the reaction in which there will be formation of aromatic compounds, right? Benzene and its substituents through the alkanes, and this reaction occurs in the presence of suitable oxidizing agent just like vanadium pentoxide at a certain temperature, high temperature and specific pressure. So if I am doing the reaction, I am writing N-hexane here. So I am writing N-hexane in this way. Writing this in this way, right? So when we do the reaction in presence of chromic oxide, or you can take, as I told you, vanadium pentaoxide, right? So this reaction occur at 773 Kelvin temperature and 10 to 20 atmospheric pressure. Now what happens? There will be dehydrogenation. This occur by dehydrogenation. Dehydrogenation means it means removal, and hydrogenation means hydrogen, removal of hydrogen. So from here, hydrogen will remove and double bonding occurs between the carbons. So CH, double bond CH, is C, double bond CH, this way, and 4H2 as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 hydrogen will release, and 4H2 will release in the form of hydrogen gas, and this process in which there is formation of benzene, which is an aromatic compound. The process is known as the aromatization. Here I have taken N-hexane through which it gets converted to benzene. If you are taking an heptane here, then we will get the toluene. The next reaction is reaction with steam. See, this is sixth reaction, the reaction with steam. So reaction with steam, that means if you are taking alkane, I am taking again methane here, and if I do the reaction with water which is in the form of steam here, then there will be formation of CO, carbon monoxide plus H2, carbon monoxide and H2. This reaction occur in the presence of nickel as a catalyst and by heating process. So we will get a mixture of carbon monoxide and hydrogen, and this reaction is very important for the formation, for the preparation of hydrogen gas. So we can balance it, so we will get this mixture CO plus H2. Now the last reaction is the pyrolysis. Pyrolysis is also known as the cracking. This is also known as the cracking, and it is simply the breaking of higher alkane into lower fragments, right? They may be lower alkane, they may be alkene also. So I am taking one example. If I am taking C6H14 here, I am taking an hexane here, then it gets converted to C6H12, which is an alkene plus H2, right? It can be break into C4H8 plus C2H6, and it can be break into C3H6, that is alkyne, C2H4 and CH4 when we heat at 773 Kelvin. So this method in which this hexane is breaking into the lower fragments, lower alkane, alkene or alkyne, that is known as the pyrolysis, and this method is generally used for the preparation of oil gases. So this is all about the alkane preparation. So now we take some other important part of alkanes, and it is conformation. I am taking conformations here, and conformation is one another important part of alkane. Now what are conformation? As we know that alkanes have single bonds, they in which the carbon-carbon is bonded through sigma bond. So it has free rotation along its axis. It can easily rotate through its internuclear axis. So because of this rotation, it can exist a large number of compounds in which it can show different compounds. That means they are similar in the point of view, you can say, with respect to their molecular formula, but in spatial arrangement they have some different arrangement when we rotate them with along its internuclear axis. So these are known as the conformations or rotamers